residents, and there was a lot of residents who helped, and Andra had a big part in it, and so thank you everyone. It looks beautiful throughout the whole community. So welcome to our community meeting for the month of December, and this meeting is going to be a little bit different in that we're also going to combine it with our quarterly real estate meeting. So I have a couple of quick introductions. Sean Fletcher is with us. He flew in from Florida for this meeting. He's the Vice President of Property Management and Construction Services, and he'll be giving the update on our real estate. Terry White is the Vice President of the Mid-Atlantic region.
Hi, everyone.
And Dave Easterhoff is also here, Director of Construction for the Mid-Atlantic region. And my name is George Clemens, your Executive Director. I'm going to ask Chaplain Bill to come up and open us up in a word of prayer.
All right, let us pray. Well, Father God, thank you for a sunny day. Lord, we do appreciate any sun that we get during a month like December. May you continue to give us warmth, both in our waters as well as our homes. Lord, continue to bless Bailey Chase and all the people that live and work here. May you continue to be with us, especially this month when it does get busy. Keep us safe, keep our friends and family safe as they travel, and may we truly enjoy this month and get our hearts prepared for the coming of Christ. Lord, thank you so much for all that you have done for all of us, especially coming and intervening in this world. For that, we are extremely and eternally thankful. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Bill. So at this time, this is when the Resident Association would bring any kind of presentation. I know Ann Neary couldn't be here today. Is there any presentation from the Resident Association? Yes.
My name is Ann Ryan Neary.
Thank you, Pat.
I bring you greetings.
You want to come up here with the mic?
Sure.
Thank you.
Good morning and season's greetings. It is said that we have been blessed to give. It is more blessed to give than to receive. Residents, families, and friends of Bailey Chase have certainly proved that this year. Thanks to your generosity, more than $62,000 were contributed to our Employee Appreciation Fund. That enables us to provide slightly larger checks to 265 staff this year. Those checks will be distributed tomorrow at the staff holiday party. Thank you to everyone who counted, folded, and something. Stuffed. Okay. And encouraged your families to contribute. A special shout out to Mel Corbett. Yay. There he is. That coordinated the EAF this year. Jonathan and Karen West have been invaluable as the treasurer and assistant treasurer. Mort Creech posted flyers, helped fold and stuff envelopes. Christoph Marshall helped wherever he was needed. Greta Scanlon wrote thank you notes to residents' families who contributed. It truly takes a village. Can't you hear Ann saying this? It takes a village to accomplish great things, and the village of Bailey Chase excels at accomplishing these things, great things. Warmest thanks for all your generosity. Several important events are happening in the next few weeks. Number one, the quarterly resident meeting is coming this Thursday, December 15th at 2 p.m. We have the Taylor Auditorium. Please attend to see your resident board and hear the latest and greatest. We especially encourage our newest neighbors to attend. We look forward to seeing as many residents as possible. Friday, December 16th is our holiday gala with carriage rides, delicious dinners, and live music, a splendid event not to be missed. Saturday evening is a concert with the Jones Boys, one of our favorite musical groups. Do plan to attend. It promises to be a terrifically good time. On Monday, December 19th, our own Bailey Chase Chorus, performing their annual Christmas concert, is a not-to-be-missed musical gift that sets the square for all that holiday spirit to see us through the new year. Please plan to attend to show our appreciation for this labor of love for our musical neighbors who share their talents with us. It is a busy time, so let's enjoy every moment of this great season, to enjoy each other's company in the spirit of the season. I want to take a moment to thank everyone who helps make this season bright. To the residents who help decorate, to the staff who help decorate, cook, serve, and clean up afterwards. You take care of the details so that we can enjoy ourselves. Thank you. It's very special that we can be together creating new holiday traditions when our past traditions become modified. Let us appreciate that we can be together to celebrate each other as we treasure the memories of holidays, of loved ones past, and of course, let us remember the reason for the season. Whatever our spiritual backgrounds and beliefs, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. I was invited to come to the Resident Association meeting this Thursday as well. I will be giving a presentation on everything we've accomplished. Well, not everything, but the major things we've accomplished here at Bailey Chase in 2022. And it's a very long list, and I'm excited to make that presentation with you if you can make it. That would be Thursday at 2 o'clock. So a couple quick things I was going to go over. The resident satisfaction survey that you all filled out some weeks ago, and thank you for doing that. We're still waiting on the results. When I get the results, I will make a presentation at that time on those results. So I just wanted you to know that that's coming. I don't know when exactly, but that is coming. Don't forget the Christmas Gala this Friday. I think most of you are signed up for that. That'll be exciting. Our lounge renovation, we're still waiting on a few things. We did get some artwork in the last week. We got some furniture that was missing in the last week. The beer tap will be coming in the next, probably by the end of this week. There's a few small items, but we are almost excuse me, done, and we want to have sort of a hard opening celebration. Remember, we had a soft opening when we had occupancy. We knew things were coming, and of course we had to have a party then, but we'll have another party coming up. There'll be details coming out on that. As you would have got the communication, I think, about the Idlewild entrance being closed starting this morning throughout this week. We are widening that entrance. We don't know when it's going to be completed exactly. It's a little weather dependent and things, but once that's completed, we'll get the communication out to you when it will be open. We think it'll probably be Saturday, but we'll see. One other thing on the Let's Talk meeting that I usually do, it's like every once a month, 2 weeks after this meeting, because that is going to fall in the week between Christmas and New Year's. I'm going to shift that to the week before, and now we'll put communication out about that, but just to let you know, because I'm not going to be here that week between Christmas and New Year's. But with that, I'm going to invite staff to come bring their presentations. So Justin, come on up.
Thank you, George. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How are we doing today?
Good.
Good. So Justin Limnios, your culinary director, just a brief update. So George referenced the Winter Gala on Friday. We've received a lot of RSVPs back. If you haven't turned in your RSVP, please do so we can adequately prepare for a wonderful evening. We got a great evening planned for you, a great meal planned for you, and we really hope that you're all planning on joining us. Just a heads up and just to be aware, tomorrow in your weekly mailing you will receive the RSVP for the Christmas Day Christmas feast. So we're doing 3 seatings, 12 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock. RSVP and the menu will be in your mailings tomorrow. Also, for those of you with December birthdays, the birthday invitation and RSVP will be coming out to you tomorrow as well. And beyond that, we have New Year's, where we'll be doing a New Year's dinner. We won't be asking for RSVPs. We'll just be doing a little nice menu in the dining room for dinner that evening. And I believe that that's all I had to cover. Was there any questions from anyone? All right. Well, thanks everyone. Have a great day.
Good morning, I'm Chaplain Bill. Upcoming next Friday, so this Friday is the gala, but the following Friday, the 23rd at 7 p.m., we will have the Christmas candlelight service. And I'll also be doing services in the afternoon in Willowbrook Court and OBT in Oak Ridge Terrace, but at 7 p.m. here in the auditorium, we'll do the Christmas candlelight. And it'll be similar to last year. We will have Jonathan West singing a solo, and we'll also have Janice Pluchek accompanying him, and then we'll also have a special guest. Chaplain Paul Rosa from the Manor House is now retired and available to come over and play guitar for us that night. Since Garrett, the Thursday guitar player, was not available that night, but hopefully we'll have a great event, and we'll dim the lights, turn on our candles, and sing Silent Night, just as we did last year. We hope to make this an annual event on the 23rd, since that's what worked last year and it's what's working this year, and so we're just going to keep that a Bailey Chase tradition moving forward, as the 23rd will be our candlelight service. So I hope to see you there. Because Christmas falls on Sunday morning, we will not offer a church service that day, since we want Christmas Eve and Christmas morning to be, a time to have no events and to be for you and your friends and your family. And then I will take that week off as well. So might as well, right? And my wife is a teacher, so she's off that week, and kind of looking forward to that. Just some time off to refresh and get ready for, I will be back on New Year's Day, which is a Sunday, to offer services that day. So this afternoon is normally wrapped with the chap, but I have something else, so I'm just going to delay that till next Tuesday, which works better. So instead of this afternoon, next Tuesday, I will be available for wrap with the chap at happy hour. Any questions? Yes, Pat.
Just a comment, just a reminder that the Thursday service will continue will continue on the Thursday before your Friday service, and will be as usual between Christmas and New Year's.
No changes to the Thursday service at 11, the Episcopal service, yeah. We will have that.
The communion service.
Yes, we'll have that Thursday before the candlelight service, as well as that Thursday the week that I won't be here between Christmas and New Year's. All right.
Hello, everyone. I am here just as a reminder to everyone of the classes that I'm currently offering. I'm going to actually leave you a list at the back of the auditorium you can pick up on the way out of my winter programs. So I've really tried hard to create classes that address all of the components of fitness and taking into consideration different levels of abilities. So if you have any questions or concerns, please come see me, arrange an appointment. We can always make modifications or create challenges for you if you want something a little more in the group classes. And I also suggest, if you haven't had an assessment with me, it's a very brief fitness assessment, just to show me and you your strengths and weaknesses, and then I'm better able to develop a program that would suit you. So I will also be off the week of Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's. We're gonna be a little low on staff that week. But that doesn't mean you stop exercising. We gotta keep moving. Our bodies were made to move. Whatever you can do, it's helpful. Anything is better than nothing, right? So I just wanted to remind you of all those things, and also say that you only get out of it what you put into it. I think that goes for just about everything in life. So Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Morning, everybody. I'm Dave Johnson, your Director of Physical Plant Services here. And just wanted to inform you that Brightview will be doing some gutter cleaning in the next couple of weeks. Also, they're finishing up their last leaf cleanup this week and next in preparation for the holidays. They also are working on planting annuals in our new Welcome House flower garden up front on 501 Dutchman's. Midshore Masonry, George alluded to earlier, Idlewild entrance widening. A lot of planning went into that. Permit was hard to get. It took about 5 to 6 months, but we are ready to widen that entrance for trucks and also for some of our residents who use that entrance. Bobby Blake, some of you know Bobby Blake has been a transportation bus driver for us for many years. He's retiring this year. His last week will be next week, so if you see him, just say farewell. We're going to miss him. We have new employees. Keith Hill is our new bus driver for transportation. He's been with us for a couple weeks now. He's doing really well. And we have a new maintenance man named Carl Windsor, who started a week after, so about a week and a half he's been with us. They're both working out really fine. Last week we finished up a renovation on the sidewalk, or the asphalt leading up to the sidewalk here to the auditorium sidewalk. We made the drain that goes underneath the road a little lower so that we don't have the bump that was causing some trouble with those who use rollators and walkers. So last week we took out, lowered the drainage line, and then resurfaced the front. This week we hope to, if we have good weather, repaint those walking lines out there to make it easier to navigate. And I apologize last week for how late we were getting the road back open. I was led to believe that we were fine to open up mid-afternoon, and it took the rest of the day to finish. And I apologize for not giving you more information about that. Anybody have any questions or concerns? Yes, ma'am.
The entrance to Shannon Terrace, there still is a problem on the Shannon Terrace side of the road. The water still collects there, and there's a dip there that seems, if you get the wheel of your walker, for those who use walkers, if you get the wheel of your walker there, you can just go right down. It still has a dip there.
And is this in the parking area near your cottage, ma'am?
No, it's not near my cottage at all. It's down on the road.
Okay.
As you go up into the road up into the parking area.
Okay. We'll take a look at that and see if we can assess
It's
some way
right-
to
It's
renovate
right
that.
where you did the work. It's right there by that big drain.
Okay.
The drain's under the road.
All right.
Yeah, hey Dave.
Sure.
Part of what we're going to do is adjust what Dave was talking about, where the walkway is. We're going to move that walkway further away from that edge. There's only so much we can do. I mean, it is a hill there, So, but we modified it quite a bit, and then we're gonna adjust where you walk so people aren't walking right next to that edge. We're gonna move it a little further out to help alleviate that. So I think that'll help.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about, maybe this is not the place for it, but, the wisdom of putting in a concrete at the welcome center and then within a few months, tear it up. Get it out. I mean, is that?
Yeah, we did make a modification to the welcome house there. We really felt like it would enhance the landscaping and the beauty of it. We worked with our landscaping company who gave us like a really cut rate deal to do that, so we felt like it was worth it.
Thank you, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sherry Brown, and I'm your sales manager here at Bailey Chase. We have been very busy over the last few weeks. We've had several new faces move into the community, and we have several more. So I have a long list for you today, which is exciting. So our recent move-ins, we had Eleanor White move into apartment 316. Miss Ann Kennedy move into apartment 302. Miss Claudette Ross moving into apartment 211. Miss Ethel Kiefer moving into cottage 44. So those have been our recent move-ins, so please feel free to introduce yourself to them and welcome them to the Bailey Chase family. We do have several pending moves. These moves probably will fall most likely after the holidays. So we have Miss Nina Lord, she's moving into apartment 209. We have Martin and Elaine Johnson moving into apartment 207. We have Paul and Susan Carroll moving into cottage 22. We have Eric Jorgensen moving into cottage 30. We have Joe and Ann Jafari moving into cottage 39. We have Steve and Harriet Goldman moving into cottage 3A. And we have currently a reserved apartment, apartment 218, who's kind of working through the process right now. So at this point, our apartments are on a full wait list, and we do have 3 cottages available at this time. So again, I know I always go over this every month, but if you do have any resident referrals for us, we have a wonderful program. Please feel free to drop me an email, give me a call, stop by the office, and we can chat a little bit about it. And does anyone have any questions for me? All right, well, everyone have a Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mary, the business office manager. Just a couple things. At the beginning of the month, the annual prepayment for your monthly fee letter was sent out to all residents. So if anyone has any questions, this is a little incentive to get about a 2% discount off your monthly fees for the year if you prepay in advance. And if you'd like that calculation, come see me after the meeting and we can talk about that. Also a reminder, we have the online bill pay and reoccurring payment online through your resident portal. I've actually helped assist a couple of our residents and new residents that have come in. It was really easy to navigate. You can view your statement online, you can reprint your statement if needed. So it was really easy to navigate. So if you want more information about that, or if you want to sit together and sign up for anything or just review it, just let me know. Like was mentioned, tomorrow we're going to celebrate our staff with our annual Christmas party. So we look forward to that. And then I just wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Does anybody have any questions for me? Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Does anyone have any questions for me before I turn it over to real estate? Yes, Ed?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we're going to get some additional outlets in the living room. There was only one outlet in the entire living room when construction was completed, except for the bar. Now there's 2 outlets because they put one in for Garrett and the other people coming in. Well, we have a Christmas tree in there that's unlit because there's no outlet within 50 feet of it,
Yeah.
unless you go across the hallway.
The question is, are we gonna add more outlets in the lounge area? So we did add one, to accommodate musicians, and we did identify that we wanna, add one now that we found a place for a Christmas tree. So the plan is to add another outlet in that corner. It won't be in time probably to light up the Christmas tree, but, yes?
What about the problem with echoes in the sunroom? What's gonna be done to make that a more usable space for small meetings again?
The question is, what about echoes in the sunroom? This is actually the first I've heard about that as an issue, but
Have a meeting in there, George. You'll find out.
yeah, I have had meetings in there. We have been talking about a potential, I hate to use the word carpet because could be a tripping hazard and we have to be careful about that, but if we could get something that's like a mat, like a floor mat, that's what we've been looking at. So I think that would help. Yes?
Is there any way to do something to the outside terrace there so that the water doesn't collect by that door going in, that is going to be, and when is that door going to be, usable?
So the two questions, when are we gonna get the automatic door? That the infrastructure's in place for the sunroom, and I've been told, December 21st or 22nd, which is next week, to get that door going. In terms of the water, I think I would have to, do some more research and maybe a conversation with, Dave or Sean on that. I'm not sure what we can do. They did some modifications when they put the door in, and I wasn't sure if that was solving our problem enough or not. Are you seeing water there recently, or?
No, it happens in the wintertime when it rains and then freezes, and
Yeah.
it's quite dangerous. And then people, we can always use this door, but this door for people who are on walkers, this door is very difficult to get into, and I was told that it's not going to be, that's not going to be an automatic door.
Yeah, let me clarify that. That is gonna be an automatic door. So we've gotten, pricing on adding 5 automatic doors actually to Bailey Chase. So one being that one right outside, going to the patio into the auditorium area. One being by this, family bathroom that's right on the other side of the wall here, that was just added. One behind the auditorium for people who are coming up behind. Add one there, and then 2 on either end of the apartment buildings, not on the exterior, because those are already automatic doors, but the interior to actually get through that little stairway into the hallway, those will be automatic doors. So we have pricing on those, and we're working on getting those implemented at the beginning of the year. And then, yeah, thank you. And then the one, like I said, by the sunroom, that used to be there, but it was replaced with a heavier duty one, but we were waiting on the parts. Again, I think it's December 21st, 22nd is what Dave was telling me. Okay. Yes?
The noise problem in the sunroom. I suggest someone go look at Dental Choice. They had problems with reverberation in their waiting room and so forth. They actually put artwork up, which is nothing more than panels which absorb noise. It is kind of modern art, but it does do the job. So you might look at that. It would be less expensive than changing the carpet.
Yeah. Well, we could look at that. In fact, that's what these panels are right on these walls. These are sound absorbing artwork panels as well, but that's a good idea. Any other comments or questions? All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sean Fletcher for our real estate update.
George cut me some slack. Oops, I think we've maybe advanced ahead a little bit. There we go. So good morning, everyone. I think you probably know me as the voice from above. Because I have,
speak louder?
Yes, I have done actually a number of presentations for all of you, but I have traditionally been remote. So it's nice to be here in person with all of you today. Can you hear me? Okay, perfect. So today we're going to rehash a little bit what we talked about in the last update. But in the last update, we talked about what we call Phase 1B, which is sort of the interim phase between all the work that's already been done and the future addition. There was a lot of commentary at that time. We have reacted to your commentary. So today we're going to talk about how we have included those comments into our plans and have made some modifications, and hopefully to your satisfaction. So just a quick reminder, we're really focused on the lobby space of what we would refer to as the Boomerang Building, the porte cochere, along with the main dining room courtyard. So we'll first start with the main entry vestibule. We have been looking at that vestibule for quite a while, had not really come up with a good way to address it. We were not necessarily going to address it in Phase 1B, but again, based on your commentary from the last meeting, we are now going to include that as part of this phase. So what we are doing is we are basically taking advantage of the brick wall that already exists, that has the 3 arches in it currently, and we're basically going to infill those 3 arches. So the center arch will get infilled with door location. The 2 other arches will get infilled with a combination of wall and window system. And then we're going to remove the outside vestibule that currently exists, so that we'll basically be creating a much larger vestibule in order to just provide more space to be able to come and go. The other thing that will do is it will create a little bit more of a weather break, so that distance between the 2 doors will be greater, so that, you know, ideally both doors won't be open at the same time, so we won't be letting cold air or hot air in depending on the season. So that will, like I said, be included now as part of this phase. Continuing on, we are doing all new finishes within the main lobby, and there's a couple images following that sort of point out what those finishes are. The main commentary from our last meeting had to do with the double set of French doors that were accessing the new marketplace. So we'll focus a little bit later on in the presentation to the marketplace. But basically, again, we heard you. We eliminated one of those sets of doors so that now that lobby has more wall space, more floor space in order to have seating and so forth. And we won't be tying it up with circulation in and out of the marketplace. Again, this image shows all of the different finishes that will be replaced. You can see that we have notes on virtually everything, so all of those finishes will get new opportunities, and this presentation will be made available after today, so you can spend some time looking at these notes and then looking at it from a different direction. Again, all of the notes as far as the things that are changing and being modified. As I mentioned, the primary modification to the marketplace had to do with the door location. Previously, we had 2 sets of double doors accessing that space, which pretty much tied up that entire wall. So now we have gone down to 1 set of double doors, created that additional wall space and floor space in the lobby area, and we've reoriented the marketplace to react to the fact that we'll be just using that 1 door to come and go. This is what it will look like from the lobby space. So as you can see, you still have an opportunity for some seating and tables out in front of that marketplace. You can also see that marketplace will fit, within the architectural context of the lobby space. In the marketplace itself, as we talked about last time, it is really a culinary space for us. It's really focused on food and beverage. So as you can see, basically all of the equipment that's identified here is all food service related equipment. And this will really be focused on grab and go type things. And we do have the lockers in order to be able to place hot and cold entrees that will be kept in those spaces. Now at the same time, we heard your comments about the gift shop, and we had always planned for the gift shop and the marketplace to coexist, but that wasn't necessarily extremely clear. So we have met with the gift shop folks. I believe we've actually taken them to other campuses to sort of see how these spaces cohabitate. But coming out of that discussion, a decision was made to expand the size of the gift shop. So we are effectively about doubling, or slightly even more than doubling, the size of the gift shop. So the gift shop is really going to focus on gifts and those types of things. And like I said, the marketplace will focus on the food and beverage space, but they will cohabitate very well. And we have them cohabitating in a lot of other communities. And like I said, your folks who run that operation were able to visit a couple of those communities. The next piece we want to talk about is the dining room terrace. Right now you have a patio, but what we are proposing is to expand that patio, really expand the utilization of that patio through our own programming, but we also want to put a cover over the top of it so that it can be used more of the year. But this hasn't materially changed from what was shown at the last presentation, with one primary exception. When we showed this to you last time, we had talked about the fact that the doors coming in and out of that connector breezeway were planned as part of phase 2. We heard you. We have pulled those doors into now phase 1B. So if you see the connector, we do have the doors there. There's actually another slide that will show that even further later. But we've also created the pathway in the landscaping to get from that connector out to that courtyard without having to access it through the dining room.
Will they be handicap accessible?
Yes, sir, and they will be on operators as well. So here's just another perspective of that space and some images of what the amenities could look like. As I mentioned, that shaded white area is some sort of pergola or shade structure, so that will be covered. And at the end of that structure would be these double-sided fireplaces, similar to what's shown in the image, and they will produce heat. Yes, sir.
One of the comments before was there's no access from the west side access roadway into that area. You have to go in through the cafeteria to get there. We had asked that there be another way to get there from the roadway.
Correct.
To the left of your drawing.
Yes, and that will exist, and we actually talked about that in our meetings. It did not get reflected in the rendering, but that is in fact part of what's included, and we confirmed that with the architect this morning. This is just highlighting the breezeway and actually access through the breezeway. And as that gentleman mentioned, to your plan north, we will have the sidewalk access out to the street as well. The last thing we'll highlight is, yes, ma'am.
What about the other patio out here right now?
So the other patio is part of phase 2 currently, and that patio will be disturbed when we build the addition. So the plan for right now is we're leaving that patio as is, but that plan gets developed significantly as part of the future phase 2, which would include the addition, and that becomes basically an enclosed courtyard.
It is still going to be usable with
Yes.
tables outside.
Yes, yes, as a matter of fact, as part of the addition, which I don't have images to show you, but the addition would include the bistro, and there would be outdoor dining that would be part of the bistro, and then there's other amenities planned for that courtyard as well, including a fire pit and some casual seating areas. Yes, sir.
Just one thought, I guess you people are probably aware of it, that the hydraulic pumps for the elevator are adjacent to that space for the new gift shop. You wanna look into soundproofing that, because that, right now, there's an office adjacent to that. If you sit in that office, that pump comes on and off, it's quite disturbing. And I don't think it would be a nice element for that gift shop to have that pump coming on and off and be broadcast through that space. So you really ought to look at that. There is, unless that pump is being moved elsewhere.
Yeah, so the comment was that the pump associated with the elevator is outside of the gift shop. There's also some mechanical units outside in that courtyard as well.
No, this is actually
Inside, right.
directly behind that office, which
Cor-
is
Correct, as a matter of fact, the door there is what gets you access into that mechanical room, but my point is all of those mechanical elements are being looked at. I don't know specifically how they're being addressed, but they have all been talked about, and I know that Dave and the design team are focused on those. Like I said, it's not just the mechanical room supporting the elevator, but we've got mechanical units outside as well that are all being looked at.
What is the orange room next to the marketplace?
The orange room is a portion of the apartment that basically becomes available when we do the marketplace. It will be part of the future wellness and rehab suite, but in the short term, we are going to capture that space and put temporary finishes in and take advantage of it. Basically, it's a room that we're giving to George and the community to take advantage of. Like I said, in the future, it will become part of the rehab and wellness suite, but for some period of time, it will be available. And I think George has some thoughts on what that might become, but that has, like I said, we're just making it into a usable space. Yes, sir.
You've mentioned phase 2 a couple of times now. Is there any prediction on when phase 2 will begin?
We don't have a prediction on phase 2 yet. As I mentioned last time, the pricing for phase 2 came in at about 3.5 times our budget. So we have continued to sort of try to massage it. We've actually reduced some of the square footage, but we have not put it back out for repricing yet. So we're kind of looking at the right opportunity to do that. As you all are probably aware, the market is still extremely volatile in terms of prices.
Given all that, you're not ready to make even a wild prediction?
I am not, sir. But like I said, the good news
25,
is.
26?
Oh, no. We're gonna reprice it in the next year. I mean, we'll reprice it and see how things have changed. So the question, just to repeat, the question was, do we have any timeline for phase 2? And again, the answer is at this point, we do not have a timeline until we can get that project into within our budget parameters. We're not prepared to move it forward, but we will be repricing it in early 23 in order to see, whether those prices have come down. We have seen in other markets that some aspects are significantly better now than they were 6 months or a year ago, particularly as it relates to outdoor and civil work. those numbers are starting to come down, in large part due to the cost of fuel and petroleum coming down. If that answered your question. Yes, sir.
The original phase 2 included a very large lobby. In fact, they were going to have that be our new lobby, and it seemed sort of redundant with what we already have. That seemed like that'd be an area of savings just to rethink that lobby. Having 2 lobbies seems not necessary.
So the answer to that was there was actually always 2 lobbies. So your entrance was always intended to be your entrance. As a matter of fact, all of the improvements that we're making to your lobby were part of phase 2. We carved them out to bring them forward, but that is basically a secondary access. And it makes a lot of sense, again, because we're adding a lot of amenities here, that everybody on that side of the campus will be able to directly access those things through that secondary entrance. But again, we've sort of shrunk the whole building, which also included shrinking that lobby some. But again, both lobbies were always intended to function. Yes, ma'am. And the microphone's coming right behind you.
Okay. Just an FYI, I live over in that cul-de-sac, and there is an entrance right there, beside the auditorium that we use all the time. So we kind of have a secondary entrance already. To Ray's point,
Right.
we really don't need an elaborate second entrance
Yeah,
because we have this one here. Yeah.
And I'm not sure that entrance is elaborate. It did have a covered canopy that cantilevered a little bit over the drive lane so that people could get dropped off there. But the only thing that's really there, unless I'm remembering incorrectly, was basically a small desk for a volunteer to sit if we needed that. I don't think there was anything else there in terms of offices or anything. Right. So it really is an entrance, which we would have regardless. I guess the question to ask is whether or not we would cover the entrance or not. Yes, sir.
Sean, have you been through Easton Business District? Have you been to St. Michael's Business District since you've been here?
I don't know necessarily. I have eaten downtown, but I don't know what it's called, to be honest with you.
The reason I bring that up is you come up with this marketplace, and you're saying we're having a gift shop. Between St. Michael's and Easton, there's gotta be 150 gifting curio shops, of which all of our people take part of. And I don't think by taking away the food services from our gift shop and putting them into the marketplace is going to make the gift shop anywhere near as profitable or as plausible as it is now. So I have concerns about your marketplace being in the vestibule also. So the first thing people come in and look at is a food service. I don't think that's what a vestibule was meant to be.
So the only thing I can say to that is that, again, we have this exact setup in a number of locations. It works extremely well, and the residents in those locations appreciate it. They benefit from it, and they take advantage of it. We are actually days, literally, away from opening the first part of our country house expansion, which has a marketplace very similar to this. Pretty much as you come into the main lobby. But as far as aesthetically, what that looks like, that's what the marketplace will look like in your vestibule. So I personally don't think that screams marketplace food service. It will just be part of the lobby space. And Terry is standing over my shoulder, which leads me to believe she wants to comment.
Thanks, Sean. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I just did want to comment that I think, since
we're still a little bit a ways from starting this. We'll have the opportunity to take pictures and see how it develops at Country House. The same is also planned for the Evergreens. So we'll be happy to show those pictures with you. The intent is that, our understanding is your folks that currently run the gift shop want to continue and want to enhance it. So we're listening in response to those meetings with those residents, and they were the ones that wanted to go to see the boutique at Manor House. So, again, just trying to, listen to all sides and just come out with what the best product we can to serve as many people as we can.
I've got a question here first.
Yes, I think one thing that's paramount is the size of the audience here is much smaller than your other facilities. You just don't have the number of people to support this kind of an activity. I don't see it in being in two places. At best, one would work. I just think you have 100 people. These other places have 250, 300, 400, and probably are not as close to the downtown situation as we are.
So Manor House population is just as small as Bailey Chase. And again, we can revisit it. Again, the marketplace is meant to, augment the bistro. So since the bistro is not coming right away, it's a place to grab sandwiches. It's a place to grab pre-made salads. Your quart of milk or your quart of orange juice. We don't want to duplicate what the gift shop has as far as sundries. Country House is a good example. Same thing. Their resident-run gift shop carries the toilet paper and the Tide detergent. So we're going to focus, the marketplace there solely on the grab-and-go food items.
My name's Marge Farrell. I'm the manager of the gift shop right now. To make a point what Mr. Harvey just said, I went to Manor House. They don't have a marketplace. They have a country store. And that's more, I think, in line to what we need here. We're very small clientele compared to these other Axe facilities. And I just can't see culinary will take over the drinks and the food. We don't have a group of people, and I may be wrong, that want to run in and out and grab a sandwich and leave, a wrapped sandwich. Right now, we get fresh food, we get our lunch, we can sit and have a hot sandwich, whatever. And what the Manor House told me, it's very difficult to get staffing for marketplace. And their hours are such because they have a dinner rush, they have holiday meals, they got lunch rush, they got birthday lunches. And you get people to man these facilities for culinary. But when they're not available, then the gift shop has to take over and fill the spots. So I guess what I'm saying is, do we really have to make that move? Is it a mandatory thing that we should be a cookie cutter operation because they do it, we should do it? We're a different entity altogether. We're a small organization and we like it that way. But unless every person here says, yeah, I want to dip my soup out of the kettle and get a sandwich that's wrapped in a container, then I think we really ought to rethink it.
So I just want to clarify, that the marketplace, I don't think this is on, but I didn't touch it.
Is it on?
Let's have the battery. Let me get a battery. Why don't we switch real quick?
So I just want to clarify. That, so Manor House is a little bit of a different operation because their bistro is located on the lower level. It's totally in another part of the building away from the front entrance. So at the front entrance, they do have the Pineapple Boutique that is run by residents, more gift shop oriented. and then what they refer to as a little country store that, carries, much of the same grab and go. So the concept of the grab and go is that it is not manned. So people come in and they use their swipe card, like you swipe for meals, for their purchases. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and residents can come and go if they have guests, what have you, and staff, of course. It's very similar to what's happening nowadays in the airports. Nobody mans the little Hudson News anymore, where you get your magazine and your candies and your soda.
First of all, we don't have swipe cards, so it would necessitate people carrying cash or using a credit card, is the way I've heard it described. You can't charge that to your meal plan. And more importantly, there are things that we would like to have done, many residents would like to have done, and we're told there's not enough money to do that. There's such uncertainty and so many questions about the marketplace meeting our needs. Is it possible to take some of the money that was intended for the marketplace and use it for other purposes that residents clearly want and need? I mean, there's some savings there to be achieved. If money is the issue, then that's an easy solution to doing some other things that we really would like to see done.
Right, so one of the items that Sean was gonna cover in his presentation was, we have secured funding for the Oak Ridge Terrace refresh, so that's not coming from this project, so we do have money for that. I'll let him elaborate a little bit more.
Yeah, we identified a funding source in addition to the fundraise dollars that we have for Oak Ridge Terrace. So we're going to be able to renovate that entire Oak Ridge Terrace. But more specifically, to answer to
There
your...
are other things than Oak Ridge Terrace.
Right, and I'm getting to that right now. So in addition to that, and not that you all really care about this, but the project fund dollars, which basically came out of the refinancing, those projects have to meet a certain criteria in terms of the lifespan and the type of those projects. So we have a very specific list with MAHIFA and the state of Maryland as far as what those dollars can be used for. Those dollars can't necessarily just be used for other things. So an assessment has to be made of, whether those dollars meet the criteria. So, but to answer your question further, George has a very extensive list of things that he knows you all are looking for and things that we are looking for, but those come out of ordinary capital, which is different from the project fund capital. Like I said, you all don't necessarily care about the difference of that, but it makes a big difference in terms of our funding of these projects and how we have to report those projects.
I'd just like to expand for a second on what Marge said, because, I work with her in the little store. We are talking about the little store right now on a daily basis, serving in the neighborhood of 8 to 10 customers a day. A percentage of those are employees. I would say close to 50% of the sales in the little store are food items, drinks and snacks and things like that. If you look at the math of it, that you're talking about taking a clientele of 10 people a day and splitting it now between 2 stores. I don't think that makes either of them viable. It means, for those of us that work in the little store, sitting there and getting only 3-4 customers a day. I just agree with all the comments. What may work at other properties may not necessarily be the best answer for Bailey Chase. And I frankly think this is overkill, one or the other, or, you know, a combination of the two is probably a better answer for this property.
Got a lot of hands. It'll get to you.
Just further comment on the grab and go concept. I mean, it sounds like it works well at airports and it works well at hotels where people are arriving and leaving at all hours. That's certainly not the case here. And I think the point's been made about the viability of grab and go food being that attractive. There seems to be no reason, really viable reason to have such a facility. And if the dollars can't be spent, why waste them at all? There must be other projects that would fit within the parameters you have to live with.
So Terry, do we want to wrap up the marketplace conversation? Say that we'll take all these comments and we will bring it back, see where we go. After the last meeting, obviously our focus was to tour places, have the conversation, but we will continue that conversation.
I think you should hear people out though, so that you get all the comments.
Understood. Yes, ma'am.
My question is, if there is a designated amount of money for OBT, I've heard about that for a long, long time. You know, if you could give that money to me, I could do that job over there and give you money back. It's ridiculous. You wouldn't want your mother to sit over there, I can tell you that, in those rooms. They're disgraceful. And all the emphasis is on everything else and not that. I know they're at the end of their life over there, but you know what? Their relatives and friends are not. And it's not a pleasant place to be. And like I said, give me the money. I'll take care of it and give you money back.
So the funding that was identified to complete that project really was worked out in the last 30 days. So we've had some funding for a while that was from some resident donations, but it didn't do everything that needed to be done. So we had to identify additional resources in order to do the project to the level that you all will be happy with. But again,
But why isn't there ever any money to begin with when it's in that condition?
we have spent a lot of money on this campus, as you can see.
Right, not in the right place.
Well, I think that's up for debate. So you're suggesting that we shouldn't have renovated the Willowbrook Court or
I didn't say
independent?
that. I didn't say that.
I know that, but again, we have to prioritize, and we have, and will continue to do those projects.
Just one comment on the marketplace. I think what a lot of us have failed to realize is the marketplace is probably gonna be used by 95% of users will be employees.
Correct.
And it's not going to, you know, everybody says, well, we don't need it. No, but the employees do. Not that that justifies it, but based on past, years ago, when they had it out here at the old bar, that place was just jammed with employees every day picking up their food.
Sean, you brought up something about the budget for the capital budget. Well, I happen to have been around when that capital budget was approved and how it was supposed to be spent. And I had lists given to me by our executive director of what was spent, what was gonna be spent, and I still have a problem because all that money was supposed to be spent by December 31st of 2022. And then COVID came and a lot of stuff came and they said, well, we're not gonna take it over. I'm still waiting to hear, where's the capital budget for 2023? Last I heard is, oh, they're gonna take it up in February. Well, the first quarter will be over before you even have a budget for 2023. I have a problem trying to figure out just what you people are doing financially with that $10 million. Is all this part of that $10 million?
So the 10 million, so the project fund was actually $30 million spread between this campus, Fairhaven, and Buckingham Choice. And it was not spread actually evenly amongst the three. Buckingham Choice got the least amount of money, and Fairhaven got the most amount of money. But you're correct, you're in approximately the neighborhood of $10 million was earmarked for here. As you alluded to, it was supposed to be spent by the end of this year, so a matter of weeks. We went through the process with bond counsel to get an extension on that, so we now have until December this time next year in order to spend those dollars. But to answer your question, of the dollars that were earmarked for here, we have already spent more than half of those dollars. As a matter of fact, we've probably spent more like 70% of those dollars. This project 1B will basically finish out those dollars along with some miscellaneous other things that are still at their tail end that we have to pay out, retainage and things of that nature. So that's where those dollars are. As far as the ordinary capital process, we go on an annual basis. So our budgeting for the 23 capital budget actually really starts in July and August, very similarly to the operating budget. But the operating budget takes the priority. So the operating budget gets finalized first, and then the capital budget gets finalized after that. So the capital budget is supposed to be finalized on January 9th, to answer your question. And then those $23 that get allocated become available.
But they're not available for the capital budget.
They are available. That's what I'm saying. The capital budget gets...
No. The operating budget and the capital budget are two different budgets.
That's what I said, sir. So the operating budget...
The operating budget has been approved. We've already been charged.
Yes, sir. So what I said
and coming January, we will be paying the new amounts.
Correct.
But the capital budget has nothing to do with the operating budget. The capital budget has to do with what you borrowed.
No. So
come on, you redid the loans, and that's how you got the $30 million.
That's how we got the project fund. That's what I'm
You
saying.
got the project fund at $30 million. What I want to know is how is the capital budget going to be different?
That's what I'm trying to explain to you. We have two different, well, we really have three different budgets. We have an operating budget, we have an ordinary capital budget, and then we have project fund dollars.
So you're telling me there are two budgets involved in the capital budgets?
Yes, we have a project fund capital budget, and we have ordinary capital dollars. They are very different. The ordinary capital dollars are generated out of entry fees, having nothing to do with the refinancing that created the project fund.
Well, then where's the project budget coming from?
The project fund dollars came from the refinancing that was done as part of the affiliation.
No. That's the past. What's the future project fund?
I'm not sure that I'm following you. There is not a future project fund
Well, then
identified.
how can we have two funds that's one's funded and one isn't funded? Come on. I mean, we have to have some kind of idea of what's going on with the budgetary process in this damn community. And we're just not getting the right facts.
Apparently, I'm not understanding your question, because we have a very detailed capital budgeting process that includes a combination of, in this case, project fund projects, which are all the things that we've done up to this point, and will continue to fund the things that we're talking about today. Then you have an ordinary capital project, or ordinary capital budget, which is an annualized budget. Excuse me, I don't know what I just did. That's an annualized budget that includes a combination of dollars that get allocated directly to the community, that George, along with Terry, dictate how those dollars are spent. And in that same ordinary capital budget are larger projects that again get worked out with the community to meet their needs, but they get controlled through what we call our capital project approval process, which is really run by the real estate department. So
I'm still wondering where the project, we had that $30 million came because you reorganized the debt.
correct.
What is going to fund the next project capital budget for 2023? Maybe that's what I'm asking.
So I thought I answered that
It's not
already.
the entrance fees,
The,
ordinary.
the remaining dollars from the project fund will continue to be used in 2023 because we got an extension to be able to use those dollars through the end of next year.
I understand that.
But you asked where the money was coming from.
What is the new projected amount of money going to be used for capital budgets for Bailey Chase in 2023, 2024, 2025?
So that is not calculated yet. Like I said, that will get resolved in early January and is based on entry fees. So a portion of those entry fees get allocated for apartment renovation dollars, and a portion gets allocated for ordinary capital projects.
Apparently I'm not understanding.
Having a point, the $10 million that we agreed upon, part of the original fund, that we've actually spent 7, you said. We have 3 left, and the 3 left apparently is going to be covered by 1D. My question is, how we are going to get to phase 2 or complete the whole program?
So the answer on the question for phase 2 is it will be funded out of either ordinary capital dollars or some sort of future project fund, but that has not been determined yet. Right now, phase 2 is not funded.
That's what I'm learning. The $10 million is gone.
$10 million will be gone. It's not gone, but it will be gone. It will be spent, correct. Yes, sir.
I would just like to make a plea again that we hold, there's so much material that goes from months apart. We need to have these meetings more often while we're making, decisions, rather than get to a situation like this where we're not in agreement, half of us, with what's going on. This kind of stuff, I don't know when you were here last, but it's been quite a few months, I believe.
It was the end of September,
Yeah.
or early October.
And this stuff ends up on paper 3 months later, and that's what we're gonna build. And we need some interim meetings where this stuff is discussed, so we don't get to these loggerheads at the end the way we are. I've been pleading for this, just like this material we're talking about today. Rather than getting to see it ahead of time, we get to see it now, and the script is so small you can't even read it. I'm just pleading that we have more time to review this stuff before these decisions are made.
And more communication and conversation.
I would like to get back to the auditorium.
when we were presented with the panel boards that showed us what was going to happen, we had a meeting. One of the things they did do was enlarge the dance floor, but not because we're dancing, but because we're having exercise classes here, and the carpet for people who wear sneakers is extremely dangerous. That was accomplished. It was brought up that the stage area, I have been here for 3 years plus, it has been used once, except for presentations with the screen. That area behind the new curtain, which has never been opened since I've been here, the old one was open. One time we had a production up there. Why can't we use that space? We have no activities room where there might be a sink or a place where you could have arts and crafts, where people could work together on projects. There is no place here at all, yet we have that useless space right in front of us that has been useless except for storage. And we have a roof over it. It is space that could be turned into something usable rather than spending money on trying to impress people that you want to move in here with a lobby which is not impressive at all. People who move in here are interested in apartments that are better equipped. We have a nice little apartment up there for guests, which we have used several times, but there is nothing appealing to this place for people who might have an interest in things other than just sitting in an auditorium listening to presentations when nothing gets done that is applicable to our situation. We are like a cookie cutter. You bring it in these plans, they've already been decided, you invite us in for comments, and then the only one who gets things done is our local executive director, and yet his hands are tied because everything at corporate has already been decided. We are one of 30, and you're going to turn us into one of 30, and we're going to be like everyone else, regardless of our size, regardless of the fact that we have a lovely town here. We've got about 30 restaurants. We can go there by bus. A lot of us have cars here. We have no problem getting where we want to go. We went to Cambridge to see the fire, the trains at the firehouse. We went by bus. We went to Lancaster by bus. We have been to Christchurch for a concert the other night by bus. We can walk there, we can drive there. We don't need what you are trying to give us. There are things we need, but we don't need a cookie cutter from corporate.
So I think, we hear you loud and clear. We will take the idea of the marketplace back. We'll study it again. We'll come back to you and, talk about it some more. Or maybe we don't do it at all right now. I can't speak to what was planned for the auditorium years ago with the stage not being used. I mean, again, most places that have a multi-purpose room have a stage. Whether it gets used or not, that's really up to community programming. But please understand, we are hearing you, and we will take these comments back.
Corporate did not listen at all when the stage was mentioned. It wasn't in the plan, and so there sits that space right behind you, usable space that corporate just turned a deaf ear to.
Again, I'm sorry, but this was the first time I'm hearing about the stage, so we can't address it.
Well, I brought it up.
Okay, I appreciate that.
remember it.
Okay, well, it's been a lively discussion. So we've heard from Sean and Terry, and we'll have some conversations. I will email this out to everyone who has an email address so you have a chance to take a closer look. And we'll go from there. Well, Ray has his hand up.
Is OPT going to be covered? That's an important issue.
Yes.
So, yeah.
It's at the top of the list.
Oak Ridge Terrace, we've had some funding available, which has taken a while, but we've got a plan to use it, but it wasn't enough, and now we have an additional $200,000 roughly that we are going to put together into a plan that we intend to implement as quick as we can in the next quarter. Yes?
The slide that we never got to see was, I think, going to talk about the Port Cochere. Did that get dropped out of the plan, or
No, we never got to it. It didn't change from the last presentation.
Yeah, the Port Cochere was still in the plans, and I've never heard any negativity about that, so we were going to move forward with that. Yes?
I'd like to give you some negativity. I'm not sure that we need that, because we have an entrance already. If for people letting people out from cars, they do that at the front entrance, at the main lobby.
That's what
We're talking about the front entrance, main lobby Port Cochere.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Port Cochere over the
No.
side.
And that Port Cochere was real, it's almost like a mini Port Cochere. This would be a significant one that is, you want to transfer in and out of vehicles to the front door, you're undercover.
Well, I think the second Port Cochere, we could cut back on that, because that's an expense we don't need to have.
That's a debate, that's debatable. But, all right, any other comments, questions? Yes, Ray?
Have we heard all the presentation?
Yeah, the only piece you missed was the Port Cochere image.
Okay, I just want to make sure we heard everything.
Yes.
Okay, and I'll email it to you as well. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Merry Christmas. God bless you.
And also with you.
Thank you.